Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video, and today I'm going to be doing my RWBY Volume 5 Chapter 3 Episode 3 review. So here we go. So it starts off. You got Blake's father, Blake's mother, Sun Wukong. Black Sun shipping. Yeah. Anyways. Okay, so they basically are just, they're looking through notes, and it appears, you got the press outside, it appears, ready to hear his, Blake's father's speech. And, so, Sun, like, at the end, while they're all saying, you can do this, then Sun, who argues with him, a lot, says, you can do this, So, he basically talks about, proof that Adam is trying to overthrow, the Kong ruler, Shaina Khan, I believe her name was. They're going to overthrow her, but Adam already has, if you watched the last episode. But I don't think it's been publicly made yet that it is. But now that this information is out, now people know that, yes, this was, a ploy, basically. He gives a speech that, basically Faunist, because that's their race, the Faunists and the humans should be, equals. And that's what he wants to do. And Adam, he has too much radical plans, As we heard, Adam wants basically the humans to be, the ones fearing the Faunists, where the Faunists are like the superior race, I guess, is what they're going for. So it's basically one of those typical, I'm better than you type thing, whole thing, and, where they don't want to do that. They just want to be equals to the humans and treated the same as the humans. So I think there's going to be a Silver War in some thing, the White Fang, or the high power of the White Fang, I guess. And, obviously this tribe of, Furials are, not, interested in this. So this will be something to look out for later on in later seasons, as well as right now, and where they're gonna go with this. After the speech, everyone basically claps, for, Blake's father. As Blake's father is about to allow Blake to talk, by being an ex-White Fang member, as well as a student from the Fall of Beacon, you see Ilya, one of the newer characters, who, Asuna from Sword Art Online, I believe she's the new Sailor Venus, for any Sailor Moon fans out there, for the Viz Media dub. There's probably some other that I haven't named yet. But that's just kind of give you an idea, who Ilya's voice actor is. They're getting a lot of, Rooster Teeth's getting a lot of, for a lot of these newer characters, they're getting a lot of, voice actors that we kind of know, these days. A lot of the voice actors in RWBY, a lot of the main characters are basically voice actors that are not really typically known in the anime field, for the most part. But mixture, I like it because a lot of these newer voice actors that, you know, a lot of us never heard of, you know, are getting the voice with some of these other voice actors that we pretty much know, even though RWBY is more of an American anime, because it is, kind of like Avatar is. It's really cool to see more of those get out there, for you know, the voices and shit. So like I said, Ilya interrupts, well, after the clapping is done, and basically says, you all should join Adam. You know, what did they do, the humans do for us? You know, why would we want to be equals with them? The humans don't like us. They want to treat us like dirt and stuff like that. Where were they when they took out my parents and stuff like that, you know? So, you know, Ilya, you know, then after that, Sun Wukong tries to attack her, and then she leaves. And then other guards just basically go to follow her. So we'll see where they go with what they're doing with that whole thing. It will be interesting to see where they're going with Blake, and what direction she'll lead to. Blake and Sun will lead to you know, the other RWBY members, where I don't feel they're going to meet up. Like, a lot of people feel Team RWBY's going to meet up by the end of the volume, but I don't think so, because the way they're doing Blake and Sun, like, I don't feel like Blake and Sun are going to meet up with Team RWBY the way they're going with this, but who knows? At this time, at least. Then after that, we got Team Ranger, and Ospen, you know, in his you know, new form, I guess, as it's been called. A lot of people have been theorizing what Ospen's involvement with this new person that, you know, he's like a part of now, kind of like a Yami Yugi type thing. And apparently, at least from what I heard, I don't know about you guys, but at least from what I heard, it kind of seems that way, actually. I don't think I was too far off on what I thought Ospen was. He's sort of like Yami Yugi, in a way. I mean, he's not, like, the way he describes it is he's not really, like, he says he's a reincarnation, which a lot of people guess, but he really isn't. Because the way he described it was he's a reincarnated spirit, which is basically what Yami Yugi is. Because he can't be a reincarnation of someone, because if he was a reincarnation of someone, he would actually be a baby, a newborn baby, and his memories would kind of be like Aang's, where it's all clouded and stuff. You know, you eventually will learn it when you go to the spirit world and stuff like that, but, you know, obviously that's not what Ospen is. Ospen is a spirit who's been cursed for, I guess, thousands of years. And, you know, like I said, it's kind of like Yugi. It's kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! At this point. You know, because he can jump into... The only difference, really, is he can jump into any spirit, I guess, that has a clear mind. Or any soul that has a clear mind. Once his current said body dies. So, it is official that Ospen's body is confirmed to be dead. So, yes, Ospen did die. A lot of people thought that Ospen's body might still be alive. It's just, like, stored somewhere else, and he needs to get it, you know, he needs to find it or whatever. That isn't true. This is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Type scenario, which is what I thought. it was. So Osmond, who basically goes, not to cliche Yu-Gi again, but basically goes Yu-Gi, and does Yu-Gi-Oh! Without saying Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Osmond basically then takes over the soul, or takes over control of the body, and he starts talking in his voice and stuff like that, from Pine. And he, tells, what, is going on and what happened and how everything failed and it was his fault and stuff like that. It eventually ends where he basically says he wants to train all of them, including RWBY, and specifically RWBY hand-to-hand combat, which is actually good because RWBY needs to learn some hand-to-hand combat. Osmond basically told us what all versus debaters have been saying, that RWBY isn't very good without her scythe. So, I hope this teaching her hand-to-hand combat actually comes to fruition, because Yang was trying to teach her this in the short, which was a flashback. So I guess this was kind of a head count of what was to come in this season. So hopefully we'll see more of this. So, they go through the explanations and what they need to do. Yang wasn't in this episode, by the way, for anyone who's wondering. That didn't happen, unfortunately. But what did happen is we had Weiss, who in this episode was basically in a cage. She didn't have her weapon anymore. We see this character, who is a new character. We don't know who it is, but we do know that this character is in the theme song for Volume 5, and she's standing next to Cinder, or grinning at Cinder. A lot of people have theorized that this could possibly be the long-lost Spring Maiden that Raven is concealing in her tribe. Not going to say if it is her or not, but I'm pretty sure it is her. But we don't officially know as of this episode right now if this is her. I think it's pretty obvious that it is. She basically talks about how, Weiss, being the, the daughter, and they like I said, they pretty much know that, she, is from Atlas and stuff like that. And, they're basically going to ship her back, or use her for ransom to bring her back to her father. And, and that Raven doesn't say anything, by the way, in this episode also. As a matter of fact, she doesn't appear in this episode. The two guy goons laugh, and that's all they do. I believe what is to be a Spring Maiden, is basically, telling her, just, don't do anything and you'll be back in your mansion in no time, or whatever. She also sort of made her a sarcastic offer to be a part of the group, or whatever. I don't know if it was a bluff, or she was kind of trying to bait her, and to see what Weiss would say, and Weiss said she would never join a group like her, and then that's when she said, you'll be back in your mansion in no time. She then went on to talk about Winter, her sister, and basically say that her sister, is going to be looking for her because she's, in Mistral, and then what I believe to be is the Spring Maiden counters with, no, she isn't, because they closed off the Atlas borders, so she's not there anymore. So it will be interesting to see if this is true or not, because as we all know, Winter actually, even though she is an Atlas person, she is, of course, not a part of her father anymore. She broke away from her father. And that's why she's, with them right now. And they even alluded to this. The father even alluded to this when he had his conversation with the general a few episodes back. So this doesn't necessarily mean this report is true in terms of the fact of where Winter is, but we will see very soon. So, like I said, with Ranger and Osmond, they explain what they're going to do. When it's really interesting to see what they're going to do next. Eventually, Osmond loses or disconnects control, like Yugi does. And they're just Green Ranger's just basically all confused at this point because they don't know what they're gonna do. And but I am looking forward, by the way, to seeing what they do with RWBY, because I want to see her actually learn hand-to-hand combat. Because she can learn hand-to-hand combat, I think RWBY will be a much better, stronger character. Because that's the one thing that she lacks in her character. She doesn't have hand-to-hand combat. So I'm very interested to see what happens here. Especially if we can learn a little bit more about the Silver Eyes as well. We didn't get anything from the villains. Salem. Something to also note that Osmond did mention that, he's been battling Salem for a long time now, so, that he's failed a lot against her, and that's why they keep bringing him back. So, I don't think Salem is a reincarnation of a Maiden, especially now. It sort of seems like Salem and Osmond are like light and dark. Like, he's like the light and she is like the dark. It seems like something like that. It seems something into that effect, that, both have to exist in some capacity. And that's why I think they've lasted as long as they have. But we will see again. Not really much more to cover besides at the end, Weiss does try to escape, and that's where they end it. They show a little, ice person, on her hand to try and escape, I guess. She has like a smirk on, so something tells me she's gonna bust out, or at least try to. I imagine Yang's gonna be there soon, or at least I'm predicting that. If not her, maybe Winter. I don't know. But I would think Yang, because she's in the area at this point. Don't exactly know what she's going to do. I mean, obviously that's her teammate, so I would assume that she's going to actually do something. But we'll see very soon. Obviously, we don't know the status on Neapolitan, Neo. She is making an appearance. She is alive. It's been confirmed that she will be in Volume 5 many, many months ago. This was confirmed. She was going to be in Volume 5. We haven't seen Neo yet, and we don't know exactly what her involvement is, whether she's still a villain, whether she's still going to be, or she's going to not be a villain anymore, because we don't exactly know, because Salem controls the Grimms, and obviously the Grimm ate her, the only person she really follows, so, she might want to get revenge. And she doesn't know really where Cinder is at this point. So, something, maybe, possibly. I don't know. I would like to see more of what she's going to be doing, too. But a lot of different things coming out of this episode, basically, I want to get to. A lot of basic things, we're told in this episode, kind of explain a lot of different things that a lot of people have been asking and wondering for a while now. And it will be interesting to see where they go into next week's thing. I would like to see something from Raven, because we haven't seen anything from Raven yet. I was expecting her to have done something in this episode, but as usual, it was not. It was, I assume, the Spring Maiden that got to shine, but I think Raven will be in the next episode. Especially if Weiss does successfully break out of the cage. I'm going to imagine that what's going to happen is that, she's going to try to prevent her from escaping. But we will see. Let me know what you guys think about this episode. Did you like this? Did you like the direction they went with it? And what do you think of the new Yu-Gi-Oh! In RWBY? Or Osmond. Because that's what he is. He's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Spirit. Because he's not a reincarnation of an actual person. He's a reincarnation of a soul that goes into a good soul mind person that's already been born. So it's not an actual soul, for himself, of a reincarnation of a baby. Because that's what it would have to be. It's actually, two souls, and he goes into one that he feels has a, a good mind, so that's why. Now, it is interesting to say this because also Osmond had mentioned in the episode too that he had been doing this for years, okay, many lifetimes. So that also implies that his old body that's dead now was at one point someone else. Which means he had ideally, there should have been two souls in his original body that we had seen. But there was no indication of this, so I'm not exactly sure what happened. But that is also something to keep in mind as well. So that is my review for this week's episode. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate. I have all my playlists down below, as well as last week's RWBY review, episode review. So yeah, you guys can check all that stuff out. And that's about it, guys. I am the SS Ultimate Goku, and I'm out of here. Peace.